YouTube and welcome to the channel. I am Grimfire and I will be your guide through the wonderful universes known as the internet and books. Over the course of the next 20 or so videos, I will be reading a series of stories that as a child forced me to hide it away. Now, I wish to pull it out, blow off the dust, and share my childish fear with you. This book I am reading is by Alvin Scarschwartz. Am I saying that right? Anyway, the book is called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. If you haven't already read it yourself, I highly encourage it. Scarschwartz is a brilliant writer, and his illustrator, Stephen Gamble, I'll show you some of his illustrations throughout the stories. He is wonderful. Technically, this book only holds retellings of folklore, but nevertheless, still brilliant. Well, that's all I have to say. Let's get started with the prologue, shall we? Strange and scary things. Pioneers used to entertain themselves by telling scary stories. At night, they might gather in somebody's cabin or around a fire and see who could scare the others the most. Some girls and boys in my town do the same thing today. They get together at somebody's house and they turn out the lights and eat popcorn and scare one another half to death. Telling scary stories is something people have done for thousands of years. Most of us like being scared in that way. Since there isn't any danger, we think it is fun. There are a great many scary stories to tell. There are ghost stories. There are tales of witches, devils, boogeymen, zombies, and vampires. There are tales of monstrous creatures and of other dangers. There are even stories that make us laugh at all this scariness. Some of these tales are very old, and they are told around the world, and most of them have the same origin. They are based on things that people saw, heard, or experienced, or thought they did. Many years ago, a young prince became famous for a scary story he started to tell, but did not finish. His name was Malamus, and he was probably 9 or 10 years old. William Shakespeare told about him in The Winter's Tale. It was a dark winter's day that his mother, the queen, had asked him for a story. "A sad tale's best for winter," he said. "I have one of sprites and goblins." "Do your best to frighten me with your sprites," she said. "You are powerful at it." "I shall tell it softly," he said. "Yonder crickets shall not hear it." And then he began. There was a man dwelt by a churchyard, but that was as far as he got. For at that moment the king came in and arrested the queen and took her away. And soon after that, Malamus died. No one knows how he would have finished his story. If you started as he did, what would you tell? Most scary stories are, of course, meant to be told. They are more scary that way. But how you tell them is important. As Malamus knew, the best way is to speak soft, so that your listeners lean forward to catch your words, and to speak slowly so that your voice sounds scary. And the best time to tell these stories is at night, in the dark and the gloom. It is best for someone listening to imagine all sorts of strange and scary things. Princeton, New Jersey, Alvin Scarschwartz.